So, today we are talking about book 17 of Catherine Coulter's FBI series. We are working our way to the final book of book 27. I don't know why she stopped at 27. She could have gone to 30, but she didn't. She stopped at 27. We've also got some interesting stuff going on here. Do you know who Brewster is? We are back in, if you know who Brewster is, you know we're back in Maestro Virginia again for the third book. It might be fourth, I'm not sure, but I know we've been in Maestro for Point Blank. We were also in Maestro for Double Take. And I think we were in Maestro previously, but we are in Maestro again. And I'd like to welcome you to the D. Louise book series. I'm Christina, Kristina. This is where we read books, talk about books, no special effects, no theme music, none of that fancy stuff going on here. Just reading books and talking to you about books. And I thought I would do just one little thing before I got started on this. I wrote this down because I can't pronounce it, and I didn't want to mispronounce it. But I wanted to give a shout out to Z. There you go. And to Selena, I think. There we go. These two girls have been following me, and I thank them for it. I appreciate it much greatly. So I wanted to get that out of the way. So, sorry. So we've got two cases here, and we're also starting something new here. We've got two cases. We've got somebody left a dead body on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial. And so Sherlock and Savich, our hero and heroine, husband and wife, they're with the FBI. We don't see too much of Max and his computer skills, or Maxine, however, Dylan, or I call him Savich. It's Dylan Savich is his name. And his wife is Lacey Sherlock, and they've got the son Sean. And because I'm so familiar with the characters, because we're 17 books in now, and Catherine reuses characters from book to book to book, so you know who the core characters are. So it's easy to follow. Once you get the core characters down, it's easy. And we get a lot of recurring characters from book to book to book to book. So we've got the dead body in Washington, D.C., and Sherlock and Savich are going to do that. And then we've got some stuff going on in Maestro, Virginia, where our Dix Noble and Ruth Warnicki and the boys, and of course Brewster, reside. We did all that Winkle's Cave when Ruth first showed up, and then we went back there again. In this looking for Dix's first wife, what happened to her? All of a sudden she's alive again, so that was 2-book series. We are again in Maestro again. There seems to be some issues with drugs. Griffin Hammersmith was stationed out in California. He was our FBI agent out there, and he decides after working with Dylan that he would like to continue working with Dylan, and he moves to the East Coast. He gives up 75-degree sunny weather for snow and lots of snow. And having just completed some snow days here, I like snow. It's not as much as my home state. My home state gets snow. They get feet of snow. My new state, we get sugar powder on the front lawn and the world closes. My old state had snow plows that could snow all the neighborhoods. My new state, nope. That's why the dusting is. So we've got two cases, and they're very, They're very multi-layered. There's multiple people involved. There's multiple things going on in both cases. We've got so much. The kid is murdered. He's only 20 years old. And he's very, very wealthy family, very, very financial banking peoples. And the more Dylan and Lacey look into it, it becomes layered. They're believing it was so-and-so. And for a while, the finger is pointed in one direction. But then when so-and-so gets killed, don't know. Well, then what did so-and-so that we thought was the killer, what's going on with his murderer? So obviously he didn't do the killing. Someone else did the killing because he's deceased. So someone is killing these boys. What do these boys know? Who doesn't want these boys revealing what they know? So just my what I've got. So we have a couple of cute moments. Oh, well, then we have, like I said, Griffin Hammersmith was moving to DC to work with Dylan. And his sister is on the East Coast also, and she's at, she goes to Stanislaus. It's Stanislaus. And she's in the hospital. She went to this party against her better judgment. She had drank a special margarita, and she left the party early because she got massively ill from these beverages. And she gets home, and there's a dead guy in her shower, covered in blood. And that's what she sees, and then someone knocks her out. And when she wakes up, or actually, her neighbor discovers her, because she screamed before they knocked her out. They come to her, and they see all the blood and her, and they take her to the hospital, and she's got some concussion. But all the blood in the bathtub is not hers, but there's no body in the bathtub. Where'd the body go? Who took the body? What's going on here? And Grisham's sister is Delsey, and Delsey's the one that went to the party. And Delsey has a best friend in Maestro, Anna. Anna's got a secret identity. And she's going to be Griffin's love interest. And most of these are the stuff they just decide they want to be together. Nothing has actually happened. There's no physical stuff in this book at all. There's no, maybe a peck on the cheek or a hug or something like that, but there's no stuff. These are clean books. These are PG books. And the violence isn't that bad either, so they're good books. So we've got Griffin and Delsey in Maestro, and of course that brings in Ruth Warnicki, that brings in Dix Noble because he's the sheriff, and we have some dinners with the family as we do the investigations and trying to find out what's going on. And it turns out one of these professors, the new leader of Stanislaus, the last leader of Stanislaus was corrupt, the new leader of Stanislaus is corrupt. Where do they get all these corrupt people from? Why can't they find a legitimate guy? But every time they get a new director for Stanislaus, he's corrupt. Massively corrupt. Murderously corrupt. And apparently this guy has a twin brother. And his twin brother is from Spain. And they were separated at birth. The father took one, the mother took the other. And the mother took the one to Spain, and she taught him all about drug smuggling and gun running and all this kind of illegal stuff. The other guy was raised a little bit on the legitimate side. So they get together, and it's just, So let's see what goes on there. Then there are little parties with all these young females who are trying to get advanced in the university and who are encouraged by these professors to, the olden days when they said the Hollywood couch was the way to get promotioned. Maybe it's the way to get promotion in Stanislaus, too, for certain individuals. But things don't go well for those certain individuals. But what I also wanted to talk to you about, well, let me finish this first. We have the mysteries in Washington, D.C. There's 2 separate cases of Dylan solving the mystery of the kid that was murdered. But his best friend gets murdered. And then the other best friend gets murdered. So the 3 boys are deceased. And there's this this poor, very, very poor girl who needs a sugar daddy to survive is now out of sugar daddies. They're all deceased. All 3 of them are deceased. And she discovers some interesting information, but she's not liked by the families when they first meet her because they know she needs a sugar daddy and they don't like her using their sons like this. So she starts off a little bit on the unfavorable track. But she works her way back to our graces at the very end. She makes up for some stuff. And then, of course, we have all the stuff going on in Stanislaus. They discover the drug smuggling, and we discover who Anna really is, and all that's going on there. And we end up in Winkle's Cave again. We have a big conclusion in Winkle's Cave. But what I wanted to get to is I wanted to read one little thing that's a little I need to do 2 foretellings. The first foretelling is a cute little scene with Sean. Now, I will tell you that this doesn't happen until book 27. But we know that Savich's sister is with child. She's been with child for a couple books now. But they're having a conversation with Sean. And Sean is Dylan and Lacey's kid. And I think he's 4 or 5. Aunt Lily's going to have a baby, Sean said, and he didn't sound very happy about it because Lily and Simon's attention wouldn't be focused on their one and only precious nephew. These things happen, Sean, Savich said, and he lifted Sean in his arms and hugged him. Maybe you've got to suck it up. Marty's mom is really fat now. Marty says she's going to have a little brother in March. And I should want a sister so I'd be balanced out like her. I told her I didn't want to be balanced. I told her I liked being the only kid here. Now that, Savich thought, was something to think about. Okay. So that was your little cutie clip that I had to throw in there. Okay, then we are going to take our next book. Will have Sherlock and Savich in it, but they're going to be guest starring in someone else's book. So, Dylan gets this phone call several times. It's brought up about 3 or 4 times in this book. So Dylan is talking to Lacey or Sherlock. I forgot to tell you, I got a voicemail from Bob Horsley. You remember him, don't you? Partnered with my dad on a lot of cases in New York field office. He was the SAC until he retired a couple of months ago and opened his own security business. Did he say what he wanted? Savich shook his head. Something about the Jewel of the Lion exhibit in New York City in a couple weeks. You know that exhibit at the Met. I haven't had time to call him back since we've been moving so quickly on this case. It didn't sound all that urgent, so I'll get to him when we come up for it. Okay, that's prequel 1. It's mentioned again. He gets a message from Horsley again. I know you're up to your neck in alligators, but giving a passing thought to coming up to New York for the Jewel of Lion exhibit. I'm heading private security for the exhibit for the Met. Quite a job, let me tell you. Call me when you get a chance. Okay, so that's that. Then, at the end of the book, we get Savick picked up the Washington Post, pointed a photo of the Koh-i-Noor diamond in its setting in the Queen's mother's crown. You and I haven't had a chance to talk about the Jewel of the Lion exhibit at the Met next week. I spoke with Bob Horsley. You remember my dad's old partner? Yes. Did you congratulate him on saving the world? I spoke to him before there was any saving, but he did email me with well done this morning. I think I told you he's headed up the private security for the Jewel of the Lion exhibit at the Met. Not only has he got a townhouse in Chelsea, he wants us to go to the opening gala as guests, eyeball the crown jewels and the Koh-i-Noor diamond, and rub elbows with the rich and famous. He's trying to talk his nephew, Nicholas Drummond, Beau called him the youngest muckety-muck at Scotland Yard, to come over. His added inducement was Detective Inspector Elaine York, a colleague of his nephew's who's official minder for the exhibit. He really likes her. She's also a vegetarian. Sherlock rolled her eyes. Have you any more perks to offer? Think about it. He added in the email that Nicholas is not only a chief detective inspector with Scotland Yard, he's also a computer expert, probably better than me. He says it's about time we met. Maybe we could duke it out. I could hear him laughing with that shot. Sherlock said, wait a minute, we've got Nicholas Drummond, a Brit who's with Scotland Yard, and his uncle is an American FBI? How does that work? Beau told me Drummond's mother's Beau's sister is an American, starred in a TV sitcom here in the late 70s, early 80s. She met his father, a Brit, in L.A. They married. Nicholas was born here, and they went back to England, where they stayed. Drummond's grandfather is a Viscount, an English peer. Isn't that a kick? I wonder if Drummond's as cute as you are. No way, Savick says. Sherlock grinned up. She nodded to the open copy of the Washington Post. I wouldn't mind seeing the crown jewels and the idea of having our own house. Sure, let's go. Take Max. I want to see if he recognizes this Nicholas Drummond as kindred spirits or kicks his royal butt to the curb. So that's Bombshell. And we will meet Nicholas Drummond in book 1 of the final cut with Catherine Coulter and J.T. Ellison in the final cut. It's book 1 in the British series, and there are 5 books in the British series. For a couple of years there, Catherine writes 2 books a year plus a couple of small regencies. So she was really writing very quickly for a couple of years there. She was really, these are thick. Okay? And we will do this one. We just finished Bombshell. We're going to pick up the final cut. And then after the final cut, we'll go to book 28, Power Play. And then we will go on to, I can't see it from here, I left it up there, the next book in the British series. There's 5. And that will slowly start making our way to book 27. So if you could hit the like and subscribe, I'd appreciate it. I'm trying really hard here. And don't forget Star Trek Next Generation recaps on Fridays, and If Then on Fridays, and Flashback Mondays. I work really hard to get all those books together. And have a good one. Enjoy.